Don't look for things or don't create things yourself. Ask for things. So here we are talking about dependency injection. I'm sure you guys have heard dependency injection many times. Basically, you do not want to create or construct using a new keyword for your dependency or look for the dependency yourself. Instead, get the dependency object injected either through a setter method or constructor method, or you could actually have that passed as method argument as well. The benefit, dependency resolution could be separated from business logic. So you do not want to mix up creation or search for the dependency object with the business logic. Instead, you are going to you are going to have that dependency object to be injected through constructor method or setter method. Unit testing is going to be a lot easier because you have a chance of marking that dependency object. Okay, so testing environment such as JUnit, you are going to create a mark object, and that will be that mark object will be mark object of the dependency object, and that will be injected through the constructor or setter method. And another big advantage is that dependency resolution could be done by dependency injection framework such as the Spring Framework dependency injection container or CDI container, things like that. So it has a huge advantage, such as dependency resolution and unit testing. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. So by the way, I found that when you import the project, this pom.xml file was incorrectly set. So I actually fixed it like a few minutes before the code camp. Okay, so you probably have to change the pom.xml files of this injection before to injection before. Now it was actually set as the after, so that's the reason you probably couldn't import the project. Okay, so what you can do is if you can just download it again, and you should actually have the correct project, or you can just change the pom.xml file. So let me just show you what I did. So here principal, and you have a sample mavens and dependency injection before. So the pom.xml file just change, it used to be actually after, so it's actually duplicating with this project. That's the reason it was not imported. So you just change it and then import it again to you change it to before. Okay, and I have already done that in the zip file on the web, but I uploaded it like a few minutes before the code camp gets started. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at the before code. So before code here, this is where we are not using dependency injection. So let's take a look at the shopping cart. So this is a bad part. So in shopping cart, you are creating this the payment scheme yourself. So you're basically creating credit card object, and then you are using then you actually have using abstraction, and you are calling pay method of that abstraction. So here you are creating the object, okay, yourself. So concrete payment scheme is created in the constructor. This makes Spring Card is too tightly coupled with the credit card concrete class. If you want to use a different payment scheme, then you have to change this guy, right? You have to change this code. So here you say new cash or new PayPal and things like that. Okay. Instead, you want this payment scheme object, like a credit card object or cash object, to be injected into your code. Okay, so in this case, so this is before code, and here we are just using shopping cart object, and we call pay, but shopping cart object is creating this payment scheme itself. Okay, so what we need to do is we want to have this one to be injected. Okay, and this is very difficult to test it, by the way, right? Because this cannot be marked. This credit card object cannot be marked, right? Okay. Meaning if credit card object has to be created with some kind of a server and things like that, then it's very difficult to test it. Okay, so yeah, in fact, I think I have a test code. So here, shopping cart test, and the shopping cart. Yeah, so basically, yeah. By the way, whenever you need the test of the system out println, you can actually import, you can just add these lines of code, okay, and then basically you can check whether the output contains the string. So this one obviously should run as and JUnit test, and the testing works, okay. Now let's actually see the code that we want to have it to be injected, okay. Let's see. Yeah, the problem of this testing code is that if you take a look at the shopping cart, again, I'm actually looking at the old code, okay. You have a dependency on credit card being created in this code, so you cannot really mark this guy out. So if this creation of credit card fails, then your testing of the shopping cart will fail as well. And that's not really unit testing, right? Unit testing of shopping cart is basically you want to test only the logics that is relevant to shopping cart. But the failure could actually coming from the creation of shopping cart. So that is a problem even in testing. So the after code, so that's the code that we are now using dependency injection. So let's take a look at the shopping cart. So here, the payment abstraction, payment scheme will be injected, in this case, through a constructor, okay? And you can also use a setter method. You can inject the payment scheme through the setter method. You could also actually have it passed as the as an argument as well. So you could in fact have pay with pay to, I'm going to call it pay to, and then you could have this one to be you could pass it as one of the argument or something like that, right? Okay. And then you can actually call it. So there are three different ways that you can inject a dependency object: constructor method, which is the most popular, or you could use a setter method, or you could actually pass it as the method argument. Okay, so constructor method dependency injection is most common. Okay, so now if you take a look at the code, basically here again, we could generate the payment scheme object, and then we inject the payment scheme object through the constructor of shopping cart. Okay, and this one obviously should work. Okay, so pay with the cash, and if you change it with the credit card, then you can certainly do that. Okay. In terms of testing, so again, shopping cart test. So here, we can test with a pay with cash and pay with a credit card. So it's just a matter of getting the cash object created and then injected. And then here we create a credit card and inject it. Now, we could in fact create a mock, the cash object, right? Yeah, and mark credit card object, and that is perfectly fine as far as the testing of this shopping cart class is concerned, right? Okay, so the inject your dependency object or collaborator object, yeah, those are the two same, those are the same thing. Collaborator or dependency, they all same thing. Make sure you get your dependency or collaborator object injected through a constructor method or setter method, okay, instead of actually creating or look for your dependency yourself in your class. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys about the 10 minutes to do this exercise, and let me know if you have any questions on this, because dependency injection is pretty important concept.